Other interesting cultural news, you have Trump's co-founder of Truth Social selling $100 million of stock, which is quite concerning because the lockout period is done, meaning all the executives are now allowed to freely sell their stock as they wish. And Trump has repeatedly said, and every time he does say it, it does bump the stock a little bit up. Spoiler, overall the stock is still crashing like an airplane, Boeing specifically, and none of this is financial advice. But yeah, every time Trump says he's not going to sell it, the stock, jumps up a little bit. I mean, overall, the trend is terrible. The company's not profitable. They're bleeding capital left and right with expenses just adding up ridiculously, almost as worse as the U.S. government, which is saying something. And a lot of people are concerned about the long-term viability of True Social. Again, you have a lot of issues in terms of, well, what's the compelling business use case for it to exist? I mean, it used to be, and again, I still contend that if Elon did not buy X Twitter, then there'd be much more of a compelling reason. But you kind of have almost like a trifecta of free speech these days. You have Rumble, which is exceptional. That's where I always tell people to tune in to this show. Fascinatingly enough, if a couple of videos get deleted on the good old YouTube, specifically critique Kamala or certain things that come in files and are injected. But I partially digress. You do have Rumble, which is great for free speech. You also have X Twitter, and then also have True Social. So you have three instead of you used to have none. So there used to be a huge demand for something like True Social, especially when you have the Facebook censoring people left and right. So there used to be, a huge use case for it. And Trump famously was deplatformed on X Twitter because of their Marxist leftist ways, wanting to censor the current, at the time, as president of the United States. It's ridiculous, but nevertheless, that caused a big outrage, big backlash. And people who truly love Trump the most, they're on True Social every day because that is still where he posts first. I mean, recently he's gone back to X Twitter and other social media platforms, so you don't have that exclusivity anymore. But in terms of the volume of what he mostly posts, it's still on True Social. Now, this article is brought to us thanks to good old specifically Matt. I shouldn't say good old, I don't even know the guy, but nevertheless, yeah, Matt, who's a writer over at CNN Business, which is fascinatingly enough still in business. I probably account for 1% of the network traffic these days, as I try to look at all things in terms of news outlets, and every once in a while they have some accurate stuff. And I say, quote, Trump Media co-founder and former Apprentice contestant dumps about $100 million worth of stock. Yep, and there you can see Trump's little True Social right there on this. Let's see here. Yeah, there you go, on his little cell phone there. And I say, quote, a major Trump Media shareholder and former contestant president unloaded almost his entire stake. Ooh, that hurts. And former President Donald Trump's social media company. Although the stock has been quite volatile, the stake was worth roughly $100 million at current prices. United Atlantic Ventures, an inspiring name, but managed by Trump Media and Technology Group, and co-founder Andy Linsky now owns just 100 shares of the company. Geez, that's basically nothing. And you go from $100 million to what is the current price? Like, you go up around $16 per share. Again, by the time I sneeze or cough, it'll be a different price. But just about True Social stock. I mean, shoot, I know friends who have more than 100 shares. All right, so let's say, oh geez, it went down again. Ouch. So last Friday it went down. Just last Friday alone, it crashed 24%. Really? Jeez Louise. Well, go ahead and pull out the good old calculator here. Granted, it's 100, so really, we shouldn't need it. But let's pretend we went to public school. So you have 100 shares. Then we're going to multiply that by $14.75 per share. Or just move the decimal place over. But you get $1,475. We have now added more value to the education system than some public school teachers. Yes, the bar is that low, 32-year ACT score, and yet teachers unions say they deserve more money. Another topic for another time perhaps, but nevertheless, less than $2,000 of stock left. I almost thought that was a typo the first time I read it, because, yeah, 100 shares. Which again, I mean, almost $1,500 due to $2,000. That's a lot of money to me. I mean, shoot, that's almost a month's rent. But nevertheless, in terms of going from $100 million to $2,000 basically, that's basically nothing. And historically speaking, founders, they fight tooth and nail to keep a lot of their shares of the company because that's a lot of the control of the company. So, I mean, that's why, on paper, Elon Musk is the richest man on the planet, basically, or depending on when I'm recording this, when it uploads, he is. But he isn't, if you were to sell it, the price of the stock would go down. So you could debate, can't really sell it all at once, then you lose more control of the company. Historically, founders hold on to that stuff like it's their baby. You really don't get rid of the stock. Yeah, this guy basically just got rid of all of it. He's the co-founder of the company. So that means he thinks the stock's not going to go up. Because again, if he thought the stock was going to go up exponentially, well, you can just, maybe just, I say just doubles. That's still a huge feat in and of itself. But you wouldn't sell the stock if you thought it was going to be a good long-term investment. But yeah, now of course they say the attorney for that venture did not immediately respond for comment. They say the sale is not shocking, given that Litinsky and Trump Media have been mirrored in legal battle over the shares. And I'm curious, actually, what do the comments have to say? Because there's a comment section on CNN. I'm not sure how many are censored. Now, one of the first ones comes from CNN user H05QSL. Half these have similar usernames. It's pretty uninspiring, but nevertheless, the sale. Probably more interesting if you see the actual picture of the graphic. But they say, quote, "You guys are going to have to get used to saying President Trump in the near future. Probably should start practicing." Now, this is CNN, so if you're going to have I'm actually fascinated to have someone who is more, no, I feel like people who are more right-leaning on average do seek out additional data and viewpoints. But it is funny that this person said that, and it got 5 downvotes, or thumbs down, and 0 thumbs up. Let's see here. You did have some respond saying he's already been president, so he always will have that title troll. America the Free says, why does he still have a job after doing this? Which, game 1 like, which, yeah, if you're the co-founder of the company, if you're leading the company, you sell everything you own, basically everything you own in the company, yeah, kind of, that's going to be an awkward day at the office. So, Bob, or, it's not really his name, but, boss, you just sold all your shares. Are you really confident you're going to be able to lead this company? Yeah, are you confident this company's going to grow? Probably not a high degree of confidence there. Let's see. Melody says, and the sheep just keep lining up to get sheared, getting 7 likes, which I'm sure they're referring to some people who are diehard Trump fans who bought the stock just because Trump was involved. I'm not sure. And I almost do wonder how many people care if they make money on the stock, because there are activist investors on the left and the right. Are there some people who are just buying the stock just because they believe in Trump that much? They want to help him in an additional way to the kind of the standard, buying merchandise and doing physical donations. You also have, let's see here. What is this here? Looking on the top comments here. CNN user HRM00 says, I'm glad they made money off Trump after he tried to cheat them, getting 2 thumbs up. Password, interesting username, says, quote, the rich get richer while I await my delivery of gold Trump sneakers. I'll hold on to them until they're worth their weight in pot metal. Which, that's a joke about Chinese metal. They take all the crappy metals, they put in a little kiln, all the different metals, so we call it shoddy pot metal. I mean, Trump didn't say it, but if he were to say it, probably sounds something like that. And yeah, he says, I lived in New Jersey and wonder why Atlantic City is never mentioned when it comes to business acumen or lack thereof. Trump's stake in Trump Media is 1.6 billion at the time of this article. If it drops to 0, he'd be in the 1%. A lot of people are referencing saying he lost money to the banks in Atlantic City, talking about his old casino ventures. So, a couple of feedback on the left and the right in terms of the comics section. Now, again, in terms of the stock and the company's performance, I mean, if you tuned to this show earlier last week, I did talk about the finances, talking about the quarterly results of the company in terms of their revenue and their expenses, and it's terrible. It makes Black Rifle Coffee look like a good investment, which most people are saying it's not at the moment. The shares have decreased so much in price, it's actually cheaper to buy stock than an actual cup of coffee these days for Black Rifle Coffee, which is saying something. But again, with Truth Social, the sales are, I believe the sales are still less than $1 million. Which again, I think it was about $875,000 revenue. That's not profit. Which again, for a person, that's huge. That's life-changing money for an individual. Even for a small business, that's a huge testament. But if you're a huge social media company that's spending millions upon millions upon millions upon millions of dollars in expenses, not even $1 million in revenue, it's just not sustainable. And a lot of tech companies are profitable for many years, but they always have a path towards profitability. They have increasing revenue, they have decreasing expense. Like, I just don't see the mechanisms or route for this to actually become viable. Now, again, if X Twitter, if Elon gets, that goes away, or Rumble.com goes out, I think that path towards profitability and long-term sustainable business is there more likely, because then you have fewer resources and availability for freedom of speech. But because you have the competition, again, unless you're a diehard Trump fan, logging on to hear directly what he has to say immediately, I don't know a lot of my friends who are more libertarian, or my friends that are not really, really big into Trump. They don't see the compelling reason to sign up for Truth Social. And I'd love to hear what you have to say in the comments, because, as always, I'm curious. Now, Thank you everyone for taking the time to tune in. Again, trying to get to 4,000 subscribers by the end of the month. So if you can click that button, I would greatly appreciate it. Also, give me a thumbs up, thumbs down, or comment is a great way to give me some additional feedback, letting me know how I can make the show better and better. Lastly, don't forget to take time to tell your family, tell your friends, tell your coworkers, heck, tell your enemies, tell anyone and everyone. Just stay safe and fight the good fight.